TheLazyPeon. What's up guys, and welcome back to another World of Warcraft video. Today we're going to be talking about guilds. What can they do for you, what guild should you join, and why should you join one in the first place? I've decided to make this video as recently I've joined a raiding guild and noticed that my experience in World of Warcraft has been much more fun ever since. So let's get on with the video. Progression. Joining a guild is something that you'll need to do if you want to progress to high levels of raiding in this game, as you can only get so far on your own using the group finder. A guild will help your progression by giving you a raid schedule in which you can organise your time around. Typically guilds have a night to farm normal or heroic mode for gear, and then spend the last few raid nights on progression runs where they work on downing a new boss.
Oh, beautiful. 100k.
Yes!
There you go.
This has
Can we
been
get a
extremely
res?
sloppy.
I think this will call for a mass resurrection.
Many people don't join raid guilds because they can't find one with the schedule that suits them, or they don't think they have enough free time to allocate to raiding. Well, one thing I've recently found out is that you clear content a hell of a lot quicker in a guild group. An example of this was last raid lockout. I missed my guild's heroic butcher kill because I had to leave the raid early. The next day, I spent 7 hours and joined over 15 different random groups in the group finder before I found one capable of downing the boss. With the new flexible modes in Warlords of Draenor, guilds that don't raid Mythic are less strict on what raid nights you must attend, because as long as there's enough people turn up for the raid to go ahead, you can still do content and have people drop in and drop out as it suits them. Because of this, there's never been a better, more accessible time to join a raiding guild. Joining an active raiding guild will not only give you progression in terms of loot, but it'll also make you a much better player as you're expected to play to a certain standard. I think this is my favourite fight in Highmall.
This is fucking funny.
Me too.
I'm actually more of a Twin Ogrons kind of guy.
Yeah, this and Twin Ogrons is very
Did we win? Oh, that was easy.
Yeah, it was easy.
If you fall beneath that standard, other people in the guild will help you improve by giving you advice and telling you what you're doing wrong. This is something that you won't get from the group finder for your raids, as most times screwing up in a random group will result in people telling you that you suck and then kicking you from the raid. This doesn't help you improve at all. It just makes you feel like shit and often puts people off raiding, as they become scared to make mistakes, which is bad. When choosing a guild to progress with, it's a good idea to pick a guild that's at the same level as you. For example, if you're confident playing your class and find heroic dungeons and LFR too easy, you should look for a normal or heroic raiding guild. If you have years of experience and plenty of free time and know your class inside out, you might want to look for a mythic guild. One of the good things about this game is that no matter what level you're at in terms of skill and experience, there's always a guild out there to suit you. To socialise. Another great reason to join a guild is the social aspect of it. There's nothing more fun than beating hard content with a bunch of friends that you've met online who also have the same interests as you. To get the most out of the social aspect a guild can offer, it's best to join a guild that always uses TeamSpeak in their raids and PvP events, as it helps communication, and you'll actually get to know your guildies much better.
Self-faulting is projected onto the targeted person and not vented into the group as a whole.
Sounds like you.
Sounds like me.
When you defeat bosses or win battlegrounds in a random group, you don't feel the same excitement as you would doing it with your friends on TeamSpeak. This is because it feels much more like a solo experience and you have no real connection with the people you're grouped with. This is why places like LFR can be such a toxic environment, as it's easy to forget the people in your group are real people and therefore you feel more inclined to speak to them in a way that you wouldn't normally speak to someone. Weinstein.
Sir,
Yeah.
I'm sleeping. More sleeping than awake.
Is it true that there's only one road in Canada?
Yeah, it's actually it's divided into two parts. East is called fuck and the west is called you.
A huge part of WoW was the multiplayer aspect, and having people to just chat with whilst you're out and about in the world will make the game feel a lot more fun, and it's one of the main reasons people are still playing after so many years. Advice. Another great thing about joining a guild, especially as a new player, is that you can ask guild members for advice if you're stuck or have a question, rather than asking trade chat where there's a good chance you'll be trolled. Most guilds have players that have played WoW for several years, so they have quite a large amount of knowledge about the game. If you want to re-roll class, hunt down an item for transmog, find the best guides, or even ask the best place to level, these players will most likely be happy to answer your question. One thing to look out for as a new player is a guild that claims to be a social leveling guild, as 90% of the time they'll be filled with new players that have just been sucked up by a guild invite macro. Ironically, social leveling guilds from my experience have been the least social guilds to be in, as players won't ask for an invite, they'll receive one and just accept it for the guild perks. Therefore, no one talks and it's unlikely you'll get any decent advice if needed. Guild events. Away from progression raiding and PvP, guilds often do events just for fun, such as role-playing, raiding the opposite faction's city, achievement runs, mount racing and transmog farming. These events are a good way for you to get to know your guild better and have some fun in a less competitive environment. For players that want to roleplay as their endgame, any roleplayer will tell you the best place to find good RP is in a guild that has a lot of RP events. I play on a role-playing server called Argent Dawn EU, and you can easily tell the difference between players that are in a role-playing guild and the ones that are not. Typically, the ones that are not hang around Goldshire on level 1 characters with no clothes on, whereas players in role-playing guilds have some really nice RP transmogs and roleplay anywhere except Goldshire. Guild perks. One reason someone might want to join a guild is simply for the guild perks. And guild perks are the reason that a lot of cesspool guilds exist, as it gives players an incentive for joining them. Despite these types of guilds not providing anything I've previously mentioned, they're totally fine to join temporarily whilst leveling, until you can find a better guild. Guild perks include increased mounted speed in the world by 10%, a 15-minute reduction on your Hearthstone's cooldown, a guild bank that can be summoned, 50% increased health when resurrected, and a 10% movement speed while dead, instant in-game mail between guild members, and the ability to mass resurrect groups. Now we're going to look at some really good viewer comments from the WoW community as to why you should join a guild. Starting with Whatahedable, who says, "For fun, progressive and enjoyable experience, meeting new people and exploring new content. Nothing beats a fun group of people to hang out with whilst leveling, raiding and especially PvP. If you aim to join a guild, you should choose one that caters for your desired aspect of the game, whether it be casual, hardcore or in between, along with the things you find enjoyable." In summary, guilds are an easy way to find people who share similar interests with you. There are downsides like GMs robbing guild banks and Blizzard saying it's their guild, they can do whatever they want, even though 90% of the bank was someone else's or your hard work. I often find guilds a good way to get mats and cheap, easy to find resources like mage portals and enchanting. Although it's still nice to tip. It's also good to know someone in your guild who can do it for you, saving you the hassle of trade chat with incredible trolls. Skull Shorty says joining a guild adds for social interaction and an easier time playing the game. Being in a roleplay guild, I've made many friends and had many laughs. A guild is a great and wonderful thing. Magic Man says, like yourself and many others have said before, the game truly begins once you hit level cap. Joining an active guild for raiding, PvP or even just roleplaying is one of the greatest parts of World of Warcraft. Percy says it's one thing to progress using the group finder, but another thing to progress through endgame content with a guild. It's so much more satisfying to finally kill the last boss with your guild buddies than to do it with a pre-made group. Stolid Dread says, I enjoy social aspects in games, so joining a guild really gives us most of that. Also, if you search for a guild showing your interests, the WoW experience will be much better since they can help you if you're in trouble with something. Joining a guild whilst leveling is also great because you have people there to help you, and if you're in a raiding guild whilst leveling, you have something to look forward to when reaching level cap. Brooke McDermott says, honestly, one of the biggest perks of joining a guild in my experience is people stop incessantly hounding you with spammed invitations. Yeah, there's the guild perks, the camaraderie of guilderies, etc, but it gets very tiresome to be constantly harassed by people wanting you to join their fly-by-night guild for no reason other than you're guildless. I've been in dead guilds where you're basically the only person ever on, and excessively active guilds that make you feel like some filthy casual by comparison. Both of these are pretty unhealthy in my opinion. That said, once I found a casual, laid-back role-playing guild, people seem to be on my level of commitment. Plus, being in a roleplay guild is fantastic for a sense of immersion in this massive universe. The Metal One says, joining a guild that actually works together completely changes the game. A good guild gives you an entertaining group of people that function as a team, to have fun and do whatever it is you're into, PvP, raids, leveling. Of course there are the perks and all of that, but those are more like reasons to temporarily find a guild whilst you look for one you want to stay in. Renderman says, one reason you should join a guild, perks. Perks are extremely helpful, but I wouldn't recommend an all perk focused guild, as you'll most likely partake in none of the following: raids, dungeons, questing, earning achievements, and mounts together, and occasional RP. Jay Dark says, what's more fun than wrecking noobs? Wrecking noobs with a guildmate. Fantasy Gaming says, join a guild period. I missed my old guild. I made so many friends that I still group with and talk to. Even if you're not a social person, just doing it with other awesome people will make the game much more fun. Now for a final comment by Toxic TV, who sums up pretty much everything we've talked about really well. Being in a guild really helps you feel a part of Azeroth. I have such fond memories, and many memories most likely to come, of logging in after a hard night at school and being greeted by friends I've never really met. It made it all that more exciting. Joining a guild that uses TeamSpeak is very special and has changed my life. I have friends in the real world to talk to, and such great friends to catch up with in my guild. What better way to have fun than teaming up with friends and killing monsters in the new raids? It's also the most important part. It's what makes the player distinguish from a solo experience to an MMO experience. Guilds create this feeling. It's also a way to give the player goals, as you talked about. Without goals you'll quickly burn out. Challenging the latest heroic to get the achievement or a drop is what keeps the player coming back for more. Without joining a guild, you're soloing most content and not actually making a connection with anyone. There's really no disadvantage of joining a guild, especially if it's a tight-knit community where everyone's good friends. All that can come of it is you making a bunch of great friends. It's also a great source of information. You won't need to seek forums and posts for answers when you can just ask away in guild chat. Many high-level players will be more than happy to help you out and make you a better player. Please, I highly urge you to join a guild. You won't regret it, money back guarantee. Just as a final note, the guild I raid and are currently recruiting raiders for heroic mode raiding, hopefully progressing into mythic for Blackrock Foundry. If you're interested in joining, I'll put the website on screen where you can apply. So that's it for this video guys. We've now covered why you should join a guild, but next video I want to cover how you can find a guild and give people some advice where they can look, what they should look out for, and how to fill in a guild application to give you the best chance of being accepted. If you've got any advice and want to have a chance of your comment being featured in that video, please leave a comment below. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment and subscribe to my channel for more variety World of Warcraft content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
I'm taking it that Wine is going to be the asshole doing the ninja pulls.
Fuck.